would you do to make sure countries take action to stop catastrophic climate change?
How do you think about peacekeepers who are operating in conflict environments?
The Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
What you consider your most important achievement?
Tough questions for a big job interview, except the job seekers here have to convince entire nations that they're the best person to serve as the next UN Secretary General. Each candidate has 10 minutes for a presentation, followed by an intense 2-hour Q&A session, unscripted and unedited. The first to take the floor, Igor Luksic, Foreign Affairs Minister of Montenegro.
That's why we need to employ more people from the public sphere to help us make sure that this global agenda is really there and felt by everyone, so really nobody's left behind.
Irina Bokova of Bulgaria and the Director General of UNESCO.
I think this universality of the United Nations is one of its strongest assets, and that is what makes the United Nations nowadays indispensable.
Antonio Guterres, the former Prime Minister of Portugal and the previous UN High Commissioner for Refugees.
But the best place to address the root cause of human suffering is at the center of the UN system, and that's why I am a candidate for Secretary General.
It's history in the making. The first time the selection process is playing out publicly instead of in secretive negotiations with members of the Security Council.
It has basically been up to the Security Council and particularly to the 5 permanent members of the Security Council to strike a deal and to come up with somebody which, according to the process we now have, really leads to the lowest common denominator.
There is a sense that the choice of Ban Ki-moon back in 2006 was a particularly murky process. Really, the US selected Ban and forced him into office. And so ever since then, critics have been saying we need greater transparency, and to some extent we're getting it.
Over the next 2 days, 5 more candidates from Slovenia, Croatia, Moldova, New Zealand, and Macedonia will undergo the same grueling interview process. This level of transparency is uncharted territory for the UN. A key question is what kind of impact this will have on the eventual outcome in the fall, especially since the Security Council will still have the final say on who gets to be UN chief. That decision still lies in the hands of the 5 veto-wielding council members, most notably Russia and the US. At the end of the day, even the most pessimistic critics concede the new approach could set the stage for changing the way the council does its job. Lilington, CCTV, New York.